Hey, hi, welcome to the data channel. And so today we will discuss about the first impression of DeepSeek. Basically, we will understand how exactly the DeepSeek first impression looks like and how exactly to start with working with DeepSeek, interacting with DeepSeek, and what is the user experience so we can explore in this video. So, like to start with, of the DeepSeek R1 is what they call because it's a release one. So you can just Google DeepSeek, and the first link that you get it from there, you can click on that, and it will go to deepseek.com, right? And so there are you have multiple options here, as you can see. Like if you want to see if you want to click the first link, it will take you to the history of DeepSeek, the release versions of DeepSeek, right? So currently we are in R1 release. That's just 8 days before this recording, right? It's 20th of Jan. But if you really see when it exactly started, as per here, right? So it started during 2/8/2024, right? Eighth month of last year. So, and it has done multiple releases, right? And so there is R1 Lite that is released on November 20th last year. That's 2024. But all the hype is started when the actual release happened on 20th. So the app, DeepSeek app, was released on 15th Jan, but 20th Jan is when DeepSeek R1 got released, right? So that is when the hype started, and it impacted a lot of it disrupted the entire market. It is considered as a black swan movement in the history, right? So because it's disrupting a lot of markets, it is disrupted the shares of Nvidia, right? It has done billions of losses. So with that, as you can see, it just showing all the history here. If you want to, if you are interested to know about when it has started and how exactly the multiple releases happen, and it clearly says here, right? So the performance is at par with compared to OpenAI O1. That means it's claiming that it is the performance is really good compared to OpenAI. And also the important thing is it actually is affordable. When you say affordable, there is the character limit that ChatGPT has. It doesn't have any limits right now, and it's fully open source model, right? And technical report. So if you go down, it has given a lot of details here, right? So you can just see uh, all these details, right? So these are all more technical details, right? And like if you come back to the main page, so this is the main page, the landing page, what we call of the DeepSeek, and there is the first link is where what we saw just now, and there is a start now and get DeepSeek app. So when you just hover on get DeepSeek app, it will just bring you the scanner so that you can scan your mobile devices to go and download the DeepSeek app and start using it, right? But if you're if you're using this in a machine like laptop or computer, so you can the version you can start using is just you can click start now here and you can start using. So it just says free access to DeepSeek v3. the don't confuse with the version and the release. So currently DeepSeek is in version 3 but release 1, right? So as you can see here, currently we are in release now. Release 1 is live, but internally, so they have the versioning control. So they say it is a version 3, but they are releasing it as a R1, that is release 1, right? And as you can see, so far they have given the comparison. So the important here is to note the GPT, basically the hardcore competitor. And if you see, they have done a lot of comparisons. So architecture wise, what are the number of parameters? The parameters, as you can see, it is whooping actually 671 billion parameters. It's unbelievable because it's a huge number, right? And yeah, there are other technical details related to LLMs, right? How it was trained and what are the these are the benchmarks basically. So benchmark to kind of a like understand the quality of the results that each systems or each systems are giving, right? So here DeepSeek, if you see, especially these two they have highlighted here, it is 89% and 91%, where it's far better than like current GPT, and in most of the cases, it is comparatively better than in few cases. Yes, GPT is better, but so if you see, there's a lot of improvisation in a lot of the uh, uh, like here they have mentioned what are the benchmarking. Here it is the English benchmarking. Here it is a code benchmarking, right? Here's a math benchmarking. So when it comes to math, so it is doing really good. When it comes to math, DeepSeek is really doing really good, as you can see the results here compared to ChatGPT. Yeah, and also the compared to Chinese. So in this language also it is doing really good, and yeah, that's expected because it's a DeepSeek is developed by Chinese, right? So with these quick comparisons that it is giving in the home screen, so we can quickly dive into the app part. We will come it later, so we will discuss it in other video. But let's jump into the DeepSeek Ocean, right? So when you click on this, on the first time, what happens is it will ask you to sign up. So if you're not signed up, so because there is a like if you want to create an account, it might take some lot of time because the servers are busy now. So there is an option to sign up with a Google. So better to sign up with a Google. So it will be quick and seamless. So once you log into a DeepSeek using Google account, or you create a DeepSeek account, right? So you have an option here, and if you see it, the pretty much it looks like a chat GPT, right? So you have a new chart option here. You are having a sidebar option to kind of a toggle in between, right? And you have a profile to where you click and you can log out and delete chats, and you have kind of settings here. So you can choose the language of your choice. Currently I see only English, and I think this is Chinese, right? And you can choose the themes, right? And so you can have a phone number, and there are some terms and conditions, right? And if you want to delete account, it will completely wipe up the account. So this is how the UI looks like, right? And so like here this is a where you prompt, right? So this is where you write your query, and the DeepSeek is expected to give the result. And similar to ChatGPT, it has uh, two options here. One is search. So search means it's search in the web. So in ChatGPT also we have similar. And the like when you want to use the capability of deep think, so you need to click on the Deepseek R1, right? And you can start using it. So let's take an example of, right? So I've already used this. I'll just show this example, right? So here I have given the prompt of how many O's are present in chocolate. Okay. So here I'm asking like the question here, right? So how many O's are present in chocolate? But so as you can see, thought for 23 seconds. That means it was thinking for 23 seconds, and it was continuously thinking and it was answering. So the thought process and the way of approach is very similar to human. So as you can see, it is just like interacting with it doesn't look like I'm interacting with a robot, right? It looks like I'm interacting with a the real person. Okay, he's pretty much human like a person, right? So like here it says, okay, so the user is asking for how many O's in letter O appears in the word chocolate. So when it's written as chocolate, okay, first I need to make sure understand the question correctly. So specified human like in the bracket, right? Which mean they want to count in a way a human would perceive it, right? So yeah, now it has, if you see it actually split the words, and it is doing it like a human, right? Breaking it and counting it and seeing whether the O is present. Okay. And other thing is like, see, it also kind of a given options like where it is a capital O, right? And alternatively, it is suggesting a human can make a misspell it. Okay, the correct spelling of two O's, as you can see here. So it is counting like human, and it has marked one and two here, right? And also see, this is interesting, right? So but wait, maybe the user made a typo, and there's a different interpretation. Let me double check, right? So it is actually giving a lot of thought process. Basically, it is not just about the giving the results like ChatGPT, right? So ChatGPT just gives the answer. Like let's ask the same thing to ChatGPT, right? So it just gives the answer in 1 or 2 words or a small paragraph, right? See, this is how the ChatGPT is giving the result, right? But the differentiation here that you seek in DeepSeek is it is giving you the thought process, not only just the result. So this thought process can be very useful when it comes to building a systems, right? So it is not just about the result, but it is about how the thought process is behind that result, right? It is considering all angles. So the another angle is like 0 and O. Yeah, this is very interesting, right? So people might confuse with 0 and O when a human is reading it, right? Very interesting, right? It has considered all of this thought process, and finally it actually gives the result as well. Like the final result, it gives two O's are present in chocolate. Very interesting, right? So as you see, the main aspect here is think, think, and think, right? The thought process itself is interesting in this, and see how it carried over the entire story of counting the O's in chocolate world, right? So now let's prompt one more prompt here, like write Python code for snake and ladder game. Again, as you can see, you see it's thinking, and it start analyzing like a human, right? So first, I remember the snake and ladder game is a player where roll the dice between 1 and 100. So it is actually not trying to make any hallucination here. It is making things clear. It is actually giving you the stream of thoughts here, right? So how exactly it is thinking. So if the thinking is going in wrong direction, you can pretty much correct it. Okay, so there is very less room for assumption or hallucination or any kind of a misled analysis, because it is giving all the aspects, possible aspects, right? So you can see, so the steps per turn, like is giving what exactly the rules of the games, right? And yeah, it is actually giving the prototype of the code before writing the actual code, right? It is giving the prototype, and it is writing the steps actually before exactly writing a code. So I have asked it to write a code, but it has not given just a code, right? It has given the story behind how the code is written. And also if you can see the examples, it is taking a use case, right? And also checking whether its approach is right, and it is giving this is a correct approach considering these use cases, right? So these are the steps. And finally, if you go down, like see, it's like almost I'm scrolling down and down and down, it's going on, okay? But here is where the actual code starts, if you see, right? So this is where the code starts, the Python code starts. But before that, the main thing was it is writing a lot of paragraphs on how exactly it's writing the code. So which is very interesting and which is very important. So syntactically, anybody can understand the code, but the programmers, the main one of the major capability or major important thing is to kind of understand the logic behind the code, understand the scenarios behind the code, right? So that makes a programmer a exceptional programmer. So that's how it is actually thinking, which is which is quite interesting, right? So here is where the exact code, you can copy the code and you can try executing the code and you can get the code. And here it's giving the game rules, etc., etc., right? Fascinating. Yeah. And now let's take one more example. Let's take ask it to write. So let's ask it more different kind of question now. How can you equally distribute orange between three people with an orange, right? So it's thinking, okay, but let's see. It is taking time, okay, because it's a little logical question compared to just a mathematical question, right? So it might be thinking all the possible approaches, right? Okay, so it has started giving the answer. So it says three people. Let's think first. Dividing into the three equal parts can be tricky, especially when the orange, because it's a sphere, right? So you can understand its thought process. Maybe the simplest way to cut the orange is to three equal widgets. But wait, how do we make sure it's three widgets of the same size? Each size is 192, so it's actually doing some math here again, right? It is bringing math perspective, it is bringing common sense, it is bringing logical mindset, right? And whatnot, right? So it's actually having a fair division, which is interesting, right? It is an ethical way of thinking. It's not just about math, logical way of doing it. It's also the ethical way of kind of dividing it into three different people, right? Yeah, interesting, right? So there's a cutting method, segmentation division, weight-based division, juice method, right? So juice is again interesting, right? So yeah, so it has kind of a given mathematical approach. It has given physical approach where we can weigh the cut pieces of the orange, and you can do that. The simplest method is a slice the orange vertically into the 120 degree widgets. Ensure each percent receives the equal portion. Okay, so that's how it's giving the answer. Okay, so here the point to note is it's not just about the large language model. It's a chain of thoughts, not China thoughts. It's a chain of thoughts, right? It's actually having the thought which is chained. That means it's continuously thinking all the logical, mathematical kind of like fair division, right? So that is ethical, right? So all these points it's considering before actually coming to the conclusion, like unlike ChatGPT. So if I ask the ChatGPT the same question, let us see what it says, and you can clearly see the difference, right? Yeah. So it is also giving the answer, but you can see it is very straightforward answer, right? It's just saying there is no thinking approach here. So what has run behind the scene? We don't know, right? So check the uniformity, cut the orange. It is straightforward, but if you see here, you can explore a lot of things out of this, right? So it is considering a lot of aspects here, including fairness, etc., etc., right? It's giving the formulas, it's giving mathematical equations, like awesome, right? Yeah, so this is a first impression of DeepSeek. I'm quite excited to kind of use this DeepSeek to kind of a prompt and get a lot of useful content out of it, right? And so as you can see, like there are other options that we'll be explaining in a couple of next videos. So stay connected. Thanks for watching.